So, much like part 1, let's take a look at the most heinous crimes committed by YouTubers. And if you haven't seen part 1, then take a sneaky peek before this one, if you want. Or don't, you rule breaker you. Anyway, thanks for coming back, and take a look at my Patreon, where you can support my tiny channel. If not, you can also support me by getting me to that 1k subscriber mark. So smash like and subscribe, and make sure you leave a sneaky comment. You may be featured at the end of my next video. Cheers. Meet Devon Erickson and Alec McKinney, the two perpetrators of the Highlands Ranch School shooting of Colorado in 2019, which is only just 8 miles away from the famed Columbine shooting site. Having two perpetrators secures this event to have been the 8th school shooting with more than one active shooter in American history. A shocking number, but nothing on the 630 mass shootings that took place in 2023 alone. So how did this happen? Well, Alec McKinney is a transgender student being born a female and transitioning to a male. Being in school at the time, this obviously attracted bullies, which is something he struggled with during his time at school. Devon was a friend of Alec's, and so they devised a plan to get revenge of the people that mocked him. But prior to this, Alec does also admit to having some alarming mental health issues, even reporting he has heard voices and always expressed a desire for self-harm and homicide. This led to him not taking his prescribed medication. Alongside the use of a Class A drug, it was a recipe for disaster. Alec even wrote a note before the shooting that was titled, "The Voices Win." Devon also made fun of the fact that he and his friend were going to hit the school with a devastation, according to an interview, by making jokes on Snapchat like sending a snap saying "don't come to school" and using the screen name Devon Kills. A bit of a twisted hint of what he was actually thinking. So on the day, the pair entered the STEM school on the 7th of May 2019 at around 1:53 PM. Erickson and McKinney snuck guns and other weapons into the school hidden in guitar cases, and they opened fire in separate areas, injuring 6 students and 2 were injured by the security contracts, not the shooters. The school went into lockdown and the police arrived quickly after the first emergency call. A bomb squad was also called in due to some suspicious items found in one of the suspects' vehicles. The car also had graffiti written over it saying "F*** Society" and 666. One student, Kendrick Castillo, tried to stop Erickson and was tragically shot in the chest, leading to his untimely death at only 18 years old while protecting the other students and staff. However, other students were able to disarm Erickson. Thankfully, no officers had to shoot the suspect. There was, however, an accidental shooting between a security guard and a police officer. Authorities recovered multiple weapons from the scene and Erickson's home. Could you have imagined how much worse this could have been if the students there hadn't have intervened at the time they did? They wrestled the gunmen to the ground. The heroism was unrivaled, getting praise from everyone involved, and Kendrick Castillo becoming a pillar of bravery for the school. After the shooting, the pair were arrested, and Devon claims that the whole idea was actually Alec's and maintains the story that he had only found out the night before, but Alex was actually planning the revenge for weeks. Nevertheless, both McKinney and Erickson were charged to the full force of the law. McKinney was actually a juvenile at the time, but was still charged as an adult due to the severity. Both Erickson and McKinney were charged with 48 accounts, including murder after their arrest. McKinney pleaded guilty to 17 charges in a deal and received a life sentence with a chance of parole in 40 years. Erickson's trial resulted in a conviction on 46 counts including murder, and he was sentenced to life without parole. Nothing will bring back Kendrick Castillo and the trauma that was caused by such an awful event, but without the bravery of the students that confronted the two shooters, it may have been a completely different outcome. Nicolaus Boyd Stautzenberger. A mighty name, right? Well, not for what this guy did. A man ridiculed for these bizarre posts was known all over Reddit from the subreddits r/justneckbeardthings and r/niceguys. To say that Nick was an odd individual would be a bit of an understatement. He was first discovered on a website called 789chan, which was dedicated to the infamous Chris Chan. So what does that tell you? Nick would self-admittedly cross-dress and boast about his terrible hygiene by uploading pictures of his disgustingly rotted teeth, and admitting he doesn't wash or shower, which is, believable. His hygiene is just one of the weird things about him, honestly. Some things I'm not even going to go into on YouTube. Anyway, weird guy. What did he do to land himself on this list? Well, along with being an absolute weirdo, he was actually a p***hole, admitting to f***ing his half-sister when she was between 5 and 9 years old. There is a chat log where he admits to his online girlfriend at the time some of the things he had done to his sister, and they are completely abhorrent. Let me read you some. So this from Nick. Nick, one day she was like, "Welp, I'ma suck your p." Anna, wait, how old was she? Nick, well, she's 9 now, so I don't know, 8 maybe? And another message he explains that she doesn't even know how to wipe, so he, well, cleans her with his own tongue. Honestly, like, when I'm writing this script, I can't tell you how uneasy I feel. It's just weird. So anyway, he is actually a self-admitted pedophile, and he does call for it to be legalised. Eventually, after some interference and passing on the evidence to the police, he was convicted for on his underage half-sister named Amber. Amber actually had to attend court to give evidence at the age of 12, where it led to Nick getting a 16.5 to 40-year sentence in prison. He has tried to appeal twice, but both were shut down. Nick clearly has some serious issues, but what he did to his sister is sickening. Does he even deserve to be released? I think society is better off without people like this.
Don't call me a pedophile, don't call me all those things, call me a voyeur. That was what was wrong with me.
The words of a convicted pedophile named David Rock, also known as David's Farm on YouTube. His original channel has now been deleted due to his crimes, but he actually has a new channel which he still uploads to this day. He has 5k subscribers currently on this channel, but it's a far cry from the 100k plus he amassed on his previous channel. Dave Rock is known online for his wild antics in and around his farmland, from blowing up random things, insane stunts, and even building his own cable ride. I don't know. This guy was pretty unhinged anyway. And talking of unhinged, the guy's also a diagnosed pedophile, which spans back to the early 90s. In this chilling interview, he actually talks about how he molested children in the past. Take a look.
I actually wasn't imagining doing it with kids. There was just nobody else around at that point in time. I just filmed them masturbating. The touches that I did was touches that lasted 2 seconds, not even in an intrusive way to the genitalia, just while I was doing a close-up of with the video. I wasn't trying to do sexual things with them. It was a combination of a distortion of my fantasy for pornography at that point in time to do a close-up shot of those children's genitals.
Are you a sexual predator?
I absolutely say no.
Weird, right? That interview references the crime he was convicted for back in the 90s, but the lack of remorse and lack of understanding is so odd. You can kind of see that he's not quite all there, honestly. Dave's spout of success led him to saying in the same interview that he was the biggest, most controversial YouTube channel in all of Canada. With the original channel being deleted, it's hard to pin down the exact amount of subscribers he had, but with a little bit of research I did manage to pin down that it was definitely over the 100k mark, which for 10 plus years ago was no laughing matter, to be fair. But the biggest in Canada? Well, let's talk to Watch Mojo, Linus Tech Tips and Justin Bieber about that, shall we? Anyway, fast forward into 2016, he was yet again charged with another crime which resulted in 9 months imprisonment for the possession of CP. Apparently, he is a proud lifetime member of the Sex Offenders Registry, whatever that means. He has admitted to other crimes during this time too, each more shocking than the last. The worst part about this man is that he still has a pretty devout following, not too dissimilar from a cult. They do follow his every movement and they kind of worship him, dripping in nostalgia. Because a lot of these people would have discovered his insane videos going back 10 to 15 years. He uploads to this date, with his most recent being literally a week ago. His newer videos are a little more tame, as you can imagine, but either way, this guy is a weird p***, and no amount of fans will ever stop that. It doesn't get any more vile than Alyssa DeVault. She was raised in Conway, South Carolina, in a usual setting and had aspirations of becoming a nurse. In a twisted turn of events, she would end up performing one of the most heinous acts a mother can even think of. Before we get into what she did, let me tell you about her YouTube channel. Again, with this one, it is impossible to find out the exact information of the videos she was uploading, as they've been wiped from the internet completely. But she did run her own makeup channel where she managed to muster up 5.8k subscribers on 146 videos, as per this random guy on Reddit. But seriously, there is no other way I can think of to find this out, so feel free to correct me, as the articles just say YouTube star, whatever that means. So you could say in terms of her channel, it was fairly decent. But Alyssa was just more than a YouTube star. She was also a mum of 2 children that she would frequently show off on her Instagram. Pretty usual behaviour. But in November 2017, she'd given birth to a baby boy and a baby girl in December 2018, a year apart. She admitted she had given birth to these babies at home and tried to deny and hide these pregnancies because apparently her boyfriend didn't want children, despite having 2 already. On the day the baby boy was born in 2017, she had supposedly suffered with postpartum depression, which is something that's been called out by the prosecution for being false. Well, Alyssa gave birth to a child at home and then proceeded to do something so abhorrent it shocked the world to its core.
30-year-old Alyssa Davault is accused of killing 2 of her newborn babies, one this week, the other a little more than a year ago. According to arrest warrants, Davault went to the hospital.
She just simply put the baby in a bag and let them die, and then took the baby's body to a storage unit that she had hired out for over a year. The second child, her baby girl, was born 13 months after the first baby, and it seemed that her plans stayed the same. She decided to dispose of the second child in a similar manner by simply putting them inside a rubbish bag and putting them in the bin. Alyssa was at university at the time, so she had put it into the university's bin, where the cleaning staff actually found the baby inside of the bin when they were cleaning them out, obviously causing mass panic and upset around the school. So the police were called and medical experts came to examine Alyssa, where she repeatedly lied about having the babies despite the evidence against her, which were clear signs of pregnancy and still having parts of the placenta inside of her uterus. In the court hearing footage, she seems to show some kind of remorse, but as the comments quite rightly state, she's only sorry she got caught. Alyssa was eventually sentenced to 40 years in prison, the charges being 2 counts of homicide by child abuse, which carries a 20 to life sentence for each count. Did she get what she deserved? Anyway, that's about it for this one, so let's jump into the comments from some of my previous videos. The first being from the Undead One 9727, and they say about the prequel to this one, it's honestly disgusting how some people idolise and support Elliot Rodgers. We had a little back and forth on the subject, and he gave me a video idea, so I appreciate it, man. Secondly, Taylor Mitchell OS2XP, and he says, thanks for the information, man, which is kind of a straight answer and to the point, so thanks. Lastly, long time fan again, Matt CT1, and he says 3 fire emojis, which can either mean he wants me to burn alive or he enjoyed the video. Thanks, Matt. So let's leave it there for today, but thanks for making it this far, and I hope you enjoyed the 2-parter. I'm getting so close to 1k, so if you can let me know and kind of help a boy out, that'd be great. But please smash like, comments and subscribe, and check out my Patreon. Cheers, bye bye.